Atlanta's golfing icon, Bobby Jones, has linked the origins of this club. From its 1960s relocation to its original East Lake grassroots, to the modern-day majors that have become part of the club's vast history, to a U.S. Women's Open, to 3 PGA championships which have spanned the decades. And today, another champion will emerge. For 3 days, a pair of Americans have distinguished themselves beyond the rest with an array of shot-making worthy of a major champion. Yet they both know that today is the only day when history can truly be made, where the label of major champion is reserved for those who have conquered the test, beaten the best, for the right to call themselves the KPMG Women's PGA Champion. Welcome back to Atlanta Athletic Club and to its latest Championship Sunday. NBC Sports, along with the LPGA Tour and the PGA of America, are proud to present live final round coverage of the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. It's all part of the season-long race to the CME Globe. 20 miles outside downtown Atlanta, where the club first formed more than 120 years ago, the Atlanta Athletic Club is ready to add to its list of major champions, and it should be anything but a cruise to the finish, with water coming into play on so many holes. Good crowd on hand here on a 87-degree day. Good to see the fans back throughout the world of sports as these players chase that beautiful trophy with Bobby Jones statue and all the history looming in the background here at AAC. And back over at the 8th, Molinaro for par. This would be a beautiful save, Kay, to stay within 6.
It would be a hard-working par for sure. And she is showing some surprisingly good stuff today.
30 years old, in her 8th year on tour. She's never won. This is the first time in 6 starts that she's ever made the cut in this event.
You got it.
Slightly lower, right?
Slightly lower, yeah.
Solace going through the dialogue with her trusty caddy, John Colleen, who was on the bag in her only win of her career 7 years ago in 2014. They reunited recently.
Big shot here, not going to take it at the hole on purpose at the flagstick. 179 into the wind with a 4 hybrid. Probably heading for the camera tower. Just a little right of that. Safety first on an intimidating shot.
Yeah, as scoreable as the front 9 has played, this is the most difficult hole
12, so that's like
on
30,
these first 9 holes.
32 there.
Safely aboard.
So this is good. 46.
Eight iron for Nelly.
She doesn't take much time.
That was a little steep. She didn't like the contact. Same with the tee shot back on the previous hole.
And again, so many times you'll see a hybrid, a fairway metal in the hands of Solace and a short iron in the hand of Nelly Corda, but they have been neck and neck most of the way. Back up to the older sister at 16. Jessica with another birdie. Looking forward to finishing up this round in fine style and then going out and trying to cheer her sister on to what could be her first major championship in the 67th edition of the KPMG. Today's coverage is brought to you by KPMG. Here at Atlanta Athletic Club, green at 10. Hyo-Joo Kim for birdie. 2014 Evian champion 7 years ago. Part of her 3 wins on her resume. Filling it up from long range. This is quite a nice run for her. 4 birdies in the last 5 holes, moving it to 9 under. And suddenly she is in solo fifth. And back over to the final pairing at the 8th. And Solace will play first, Jerry.
She will. Putt that's going to turn steadily left the entire way. It's a little above the hole from here, so kind of speedy, but every putt's fast out here right now. These greens have really picked up speed as the week has progressed. And she has one putted 30 of now 62 greens this week, including 4 today.
Up to the 9th.
And the second for Patty Tavatanakit.
Yeah, this hole tucked way in the back right part of the screen. And that's just a little 9-iron. Wind moving it a little left right.
Asking for it to go. It doesn't need to go much. Patty with a bogey on the second hole of the day, which is a par 5, a hole that she should be taking advantage of. She's had a couple of birdies since then. And we go back over to 8.
And Corda ready to go.
This one much slower than Solace's putt.
A couple of good lags there by Solace and Korda. They're going to stay separated by 1. We came into this championship talking about how Solace didn't make a bogey for her first 45 holes, and now it's Corda who has played some 43 straight without a bogey.
And there's a reason that they've separated themselves from the rest of the field. It really has been a clinic between the two of them.
This duel in Atlanta continues. To the 9th.
Well, we'll find Julia Molinaro, who's driven it in the bunker here, Kay.
She has a good lie, 120 yards, able to go at this with a wedge. Playing it a little safe, more towards the middle of the green.
A lot of the fairway bunkers here are not too penalizing.
And Paige, I think what makes this particular duel even more intriguing is the contrasting styles between Corda and Solace. I think it's going to be fascinating to see how they come down the stretch.
Listen, we love when golf is a multifaceted, multi-dimensional game. There's so many elements that require skill, and it's great to be able to see all of them on display with these two different players, and they've neither wavered from their strategy. I think Lizette Salas has shown extreme patience, continuing to play in a tactical, strategic way, even after a couple stumbles early in a round, able to make par saves. And then Nelly Korda has been the most consistent in the field with just hitting greens, giving herself birdie opportunities. No right way to play this game, and it's been really fun to watch these pair.
Just the left side of that block is perfect.
Nelly on the tee at the 9th, trying to thread it between those two bunkers.
If she happened to get in front of it just a little, it could carry the one on the right, but definitely not the ones on the left. That started right.
And finds the bunker, but as we saw from Julia Molinaro, it's not too difficult out of there.
And Paige, we've been talking all week about the finish here on the Highlands course. So much water involved, some really tricky par 3s, a par 5 18th that's intriguing as well.
Yeah, if you look at the scoring differential, you kind of saw that graphic with Nelly Korda, 14 under in her first 9 holes throughout the week. There's a big scoring differential between the front 9 and the back 9, almost a stroke and a half today. Part of it has to do with a couple of these holes and the hole locations. If we go to the 11th hole, this is played the most difficult hole on the golf course this week. It's a par 4. They are given no gifts to the players. If you are able to take this on and want to take it on, it feeds a little bit towards the hole, but then you've got a pair of par 3s as well upcoming. The 15th, that beyond the hole, it slopes away from the players, so a lot of them will be playing more conservatively towards the front, and this is the hole that we've been waiting for, this whole location on the back left on this 17th green. We know it very well could come down to the end with this pair as closely as they've been playing the last couple of days, and we know that those hole locations could very much determine this championship.
And then there's a par 5 18th, where back in 2001 at one of the 3 PGA championships held here, David Toms chose to lay up. It was a par 4. It's a par 5 here. He went on to win the championship. So lots of possibilities coming down the stretch with all this water throughout the course. Back out to the green at 9.
Left her birdie putt from the fringe short. This leaks a little right.
Yeah.
Oh, solid.
Pretty good outward 9 for a player that's playing in just her 8th major and has never finished inside the top 60. As we go to the 17th, and Danielle Kang down the hill for birdie.
Good look at this hole location we just went over. Feeds this direction, so a lot of speedy putts. And very nicely done.
Back over to the 9th, and Patty Tavatanikit for birdie. And that's up to 12 under. Going to need a really good back nine and maybe a little help from the players at the top of the leaderboard if she wants to have a chance to win a second major title. So the penultimate pairing make their way off the green, and the final pairing back. One in the fairway, one in the bunker.
145 with that with him. Down to 143. 118. 127. Down to 125. The cover in there, 18, 10, 35 cover. Yeah, this left? Yeah. Help it. It's going left to right. Stop. All right, Lil. Target, perfect. 8-iron is a club for Lizette. We talked yesterday about how she was FaceTiming her PGA coach, Jim Gormley, this morning. Okay. This morning she was on the phone with him during her entire warm-up session through her Bluetooth earbuds. Jim said he is more nervous now than he ever was playing in a tour event or a Club Pro Championship. Lizette, fortunately, doesn't look nervous at all. Fly on that line. Fly.
Did. Yeah. Good shot. She said the strategy this week has been fairways and greens. Get me on the green and get the putter in her hand is kind of the philosophy. She feels like she's got a lot of confidence with that club there, the putter. Now, Nelly from the bunker.
Just a little pitching wedge, flat lie, not a full one at all. Set. Just right over the whole right edge.
And that is a mistake. You saw Austin Ernst back there. And tough to get it up and down, and that's going to be on the down slope, even though it's feeding down. I think, yeah, still going to be bottom of that down slope and below the level of the putting green there at the 9th. So work to do for Nelly.
Get it.
Eagle putt on the way for Charlie Hull at the par 5 18th. This is going to be electrifying today with the tee moved up. It's just 457.
I'm not exactly sure how she ended up exactly there. It didn't look there was a lot of room over the stone. But yes, we've seen a couple players go for this green too.
So a little tap in birdie for Hull, who was having a pretty good run at this championship earlier in the week, especially after that opening round of 4 under 68 was right there. It faded a little bit the last couple of days, but still a solid week for England's Charlie Hull as we send you back over to the final pairing at the ninth.
Yeah, there it is. On the left, you can see the 18th just disappearing out of your shot on the right. A huge facility here. The par 3 course to the left. And 2 18-hole layouts. Tennis center, fitness, swimming pool, big clubhouse. And Lizette has this for birdie.
Speed's been great all week, and basically any distance putt. This one a little quick, but a great look at it.
That's the reason she wants to get putter in her hand, leading the putts per greens in regulation stat. And is it going to stay up? It's not going to have enough pace to get there. Disappointing 2-putt there for Lizette, but she's going to go out in a couple under. And may be tied for the lead at the turn. Nelly still has a putt to take a 1-shot advantage. And Nelly's just hit a couple of loose shots, Jerry, going back to that tee shot at the 7th, which was a long way short of the green.
Yes, she has. The tee shot there, the iron shot into the last hole. This one wasn't a loose shot. It was just too much club from that bunker.
It's for par. And a good up and down.
Great up and down.
So despite a few mistakes over the last 3 holes, there's no damage to the card, and Nelly Corda has a 1-shot lead at the turn. And it does look like it is going to be just a battle between these two on the back nine. A few players trying to get into the mix, Dan, including this player.
Yep, just up ahead in the pairing, Tavatanica digging in from the bunker.
Yes, she's drawn a good lie in this left bunker. 160 yards to the hole, wind hurting, so that's going to play pretty good 165. Taking a 7-iron, playing out safely to the right center of the green.
Patty relished her position today, beginning of the day 5 back, saying she's an adrenaline junkie and could not wait to see if she could come back on Corda and Solace, but that hasn't quite materialized as she's working on a 2-under day and is 6 back of the lead right now. Molinaro is next, also at 12 under, and we'll bring it to you with our top tracer, brought to you by KPMG.
And she's been fighting and scraping her way around this course. She did make an eagle on the 5th hole on the front 9, but it's just her 3rd fairway hit today. See if she can take advantage of it with an 8-iron in her hand. Good line.
Really nice. I'm impressed. She's played in this position so little in her career. Still hanging in there.
Mentioned at the Open that Atlanta Athletic Club has ties to where the East Lake Golf Club is right now as they moved out here in the mid-60s. The architect, Robert Trent Jones Sr. Reese Jones has moved in a couple of times for some tweaks. In great shape, though, Lucas Harvey and his staff have endured a lot of rain, not only last year, but this spring, and even some this week.
Yeah, the players have really enjoyed this championship test. As they make their way to the 10th, we'll take a peek at what it gives up for these players. Again, bunkers through the fairway will be in play for the players' drive. Very important to get into good position so you could try to approach this green. This whole location, you can see exactly where it is today, protected by those bunkers.
Sun making another appearance, which is nice, although a bit steamy today. Still into the breeze here for Lizette. This is a very generous size fairway. Striped. Evidently left it where she wanted it.
Asking it to get down, and it does drift past the first cut, but not a problem.
Nelly's line is just right of the farthest fairway bunker in the distance, basically hugging this tree line down the right. Ooh. That one was hit nicely.
When you talk about the distance between the two drives, given the angle which both attack that line, Nelly's going to have a huge advantage coming to this green.
Perfect drive for Corda. And back over to the 18th, where sister Jessica is playing her final hole. Second shot on this shortened par 5.
Yeah, they played a lot with the tee locations this week on a lot of the holes, giving players a lot of variety. Beautiful.
Jessica with a winner of her own at the Diamond Resorts Tournament of Champions, as the Cordas have racked up 3 wins of the 5 American wins on the LPGA Tour. And the Americans looking to break through again in another major at Atlanta Athletic Club. Back in Atlanta at the green at 10, Tabataniket for par. He's getting into this must-make territory, Paige. Oh,
yeah, she wants to make a move. Truly, I think what she did in the first 5 or 6 holes and not taking advantage of those scoring opportunities really is what has gotten her into trouble. She hasn't played bad since then, but the bogey at number 2 and not taking advantage of par 5, number 5.
And now Molinaro from short distance for her par.
You guys talked about the few majors she's played in. She's only had 1 top 10 finish ever in her 8 years out here on tour.
Yeah, that was a tie for 8th.
Yeah, it was like 5 years ago.
So a huge day for the Italian to stay at 12 under, and she occupies 3rd place all by herself. And with a green clearing, Lizette Solace, as is the case all day, all week, will be first to play, Jerry.
Yes.
Flag's going like a little bit from the right. I mean, it's 5 over that right corner of the bunker, 7 on the left carry, since we got to play it from the right cover anyway, so it's 5. That'd be 154. Yeah, I just don't think that. Yeah.
I don't think it's 6. I mean, it's not a flying lie. Unless you want to play 60 in this one.
Would you say you want to play with that one?
65.
Huh?
65. Like 62. You want to play more?
No, I like it.
We're coming from the right, so
Yeah.
it's
The blue part of the board
yeah.
on the left tee, okay?
Kind of controlled 65.
I don't think you need to hit it low because we need the wind to catch it just in case, right? Okay?
Okay.
So, just normal 65, just over that corner of that bunker, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, trust it.
5 hybrids, club of choice. Dan, I mentioned in our earlier coverage, she knows she's going to play first in the fairway, but
Yeah, I think so.
This is a lengthy discussion.
Yeah, it's a lot. Is she second guessing it, Jerry? Or
Yeah, I mean, gotta trust the wind there, okay?
I was talking to Nelly's,
I just don't think it's good enough for the 6, okay?
Nelly's caddy, Jason McDee, this
A
morning.
little past is not going to hurt us.
And he said the biggest factor for Nelly was to try to get her to stay in her rhythm, stay focused, even despite how she's going to wait to always hit the second shot on the approaches.
John thinks this is too much club, I can tell, because the wind did die a little bit. That was a difference. It's a nicely struck shot. Doesn't look like too much.
yeah,
I'd say it's the right one.
could not have been much better judged distance-wise. Very well done. And if you're wondering, Nelly will always be this quick and this ready to play when it's her turn, Jerry.
Yeah, a little 8 iron from 145 to Dan's point, what he was just mentioning, though. They are intentionally taking a break after every tee shot, staying behind just so she can amber up the fairway at her pace. Good shot. And not have to wait all day.
Well, there's been so much talk right here in the world of sports about struggles with mental health. Nelly Corda, no different. In fact, she was listening to Bubba Watson recently at the U.S. Men's Open out of Torrey Pines talk about his own mental struggles, and it was something that really hit home with Nelly.
Talking to people, talking about my mental struggles in everyday life. Forget golf, just everyday life. You know, trying to be the husband I need to be, trying to be the parent I need to be, the friend I need to be to so many people. That's really the most important. And so when you hit a bad shot, I'm going to get upset about it, but it really means nothing.
I've always kept everything in. Like, I've never really shown too much emotion on the golf course. I like to keep it steady and not have it roller coaster. I mean, inside I'm a pretty big roller coaster. But I think it feels good to kind of let it out and to, you know, you never realize it until someone says it, in a sense. And I realized it when Bubba and Matt Wolff said it at the U.S. Open. And it makes you think that you're like, you know, like, why isn't everyone taking this approach? Like, why are you bringing your work home after, you know? Like, if you've had a bad day, you just feel like you just don't laugh throughout the entire day, you know? It's like, you know, you leave your work here, you go home, have a good day, and come back with a better attitude.
And Nelly and Bubba have been kind of going back and forth on social media. Bubba says it's good to be your sports psychologist. By the way, he's leading the Travelers, and Corda leading here and trying to become the first American to reach #1 in the rankings since Stacey Lewis.
It's a relatable situation for a lot of athletes that you become so wrapped up in your sport because it is everything. I mean, Nelly talked about not bringing it home. Well, you're not really going home. You're going back to the hotel for the event that you're competing in. So a mental challenge for a lot of people.
Big sis for birdie over at the 18th before she goes out to cheer on Nelly. And that's a good way to finish. They are racking up some red numbers at 18 today. Back to the tee at 11.
And Julia Molinaro.
You have to face this tough hole with a good drive, and she's hit a nice one down the right side.
Really nice. You can see those people walking. That's that big drop between the fairway and the green. Good position there.
Back over to 10.
And Nelly for birdie.
Down the slope, down green, should be dropping a little right to my eye early, maybe straightening out late.
Just been an incredible run of golf for Nelly Corda. I mentioned that she won last week in Grand Rapids. She shot 62 in that particular tournament. Shot 63 here on Friday.
And that's actually when she first referenced Bubba Watson, was last week, and felt like it was influencing her in that win. Able to carry that same mindset into this week.
Well, last week, too, she played the same nearly flawless golf she's been playing here and was pushed to the very end by Leona Maguire. So she's familiar with exactly what Lizette's doing, hanging in there, seemingly fighting an uphill battle for Lizette, but Lizette doesn't know that.
It's now 45 straight holes without a bogey for Corda, and Solace here can catch Nelly with a birdie.
This turning gently left the whole way.
We've seen her make some really nice par saves so far today and shorter length putts, but yesterday we saw many, many feet of putts, and it was at about this distance that really carried her momentum on that front nine.
She made 6 birdies in the first 8 holes yesterday. It was a unbelievable start by both of them. They just ran away from the entire field.
It had to be over 100 feet of putt in just those first 8 holes.
Easily.
There's that new center shafted putter that Lizette has gone to. That has just been money. Oh.
Yeah, said it's the first time in her career that she's ever played a center shafted putter. And it was love at first sight when she got her hands on this one. A big change from any sort of heel shafted or plumber's neck putter.
So Solace stays one back. Corda, as we send you down to Steve Sands.
Dan, thank you very much. With the incoming commissioner of the LPGA Tour, Molly Marcoux-Samaan, and this is your first experience at the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. What do you think so far?
I mean, it's incredible here. Just to see these tremendous athletes compete and to see fans back in our midst is pretty remarkable. And then also just like the partnership between KPMG and the PGA of America and just sort of the leadership that they've both provided is tremendous. And, you know, particularly KPMG with all of the performance insight work that they've done for us and the leadership summit, the way that they're really advancing women's golf, but also women's leadership more broadly is remarkable. And the PGA giving us this chance to compete at this level at these amazing golf courses. So I can't be more impressed and I can't be more excited about this opportunity.
What type of stamp do you want to put on the LPGA Tour as you become the incoming commissioner, and what excites you the most about the job?
Well, I mean, I'm so excited about waking up every day and thinking about how to grow women's golf, grow the LPGA Tour, and I think just, you know, focusing again on showing the world how tremendous these athletes are in all ways and giving them sort of the respect that they're due on many different levels. So couldn't be more excited to wake up every day thinking about how to make women's golf and really women's sort of position in society grow on a day-to-day basis.
It's such a big job. What are your priorities the next few months?
Well, I think the first thing is I have a lot to learn. As you can imagine, Steve, I got a lot to dive into, so I'm just meeting everybody that I can meet. So today's been a great opportunity to meet some of our partners and our team, and then listen, learn, and then really just dive into a strategic plan that, again, does the same thing, really just grows the game and builds off of the tremendous success that we've had. I mean, you can feel the energy around here. It's palpable. I mean, people love what we do, and just continue to dive into this technology, you know, the broadcast, just to continue to make this a place that everyone wants to come and watch and learn from. So lots of priorities, but mostly just listen and learn right now.
Congratulations on getting the job. We're looking forward to working with you.
Awesome. Well, me too. Thanks very much, Steve.
All right. New incoming commissioner of the LPGA Tour.
Steve back out at the 11th. Patty Tavatanek at second.
After a massive drive, just a wedge left.
Almost ran out of fairway.
Yeah, Steve pulled that one. She was in position to really hit that one in tight, but bailed out left.
That was a moment ago. You can see why she would bail out left with the water on the right. Back to the tee, and Solace.
Back into the breeze from the right. This pretty good line out of Lizette, left center.
It's a different hole for Lizette than it is for Patty Tavatanek and Nelly Corda, who's not quite as long as Patty, but still top 10 on the LPGA Tour when it comes to length off the tee.
And combined with accuracy, though, it's pretty darn impressive. She has to hug that left side here. She's done it the last 2 days that I've watched. Fourth in total driving on the LPGA Tour.
Oh, no.
It's left. Yeah, it's left. It's going to be on grass, left of the bunkers. And now in the bunker.
Well, it's gone by the bunker.
There we go.
It's actually
that
going to work
is
out
lucky.
okay. Yeah, it's almost going to be flat there, Paige.
What a nice break.
That was a huge break. Think of what the shot she would have faced on the side of that bunker and the grass to the side of that bunker compared to what she has now. Let's take another look at what happened there.
Just out of sorts, out of sync. She has missed a couple of drives to the left in previous tournaments this week, one under pressure, so something to pay attention to today.
Well, you need a little bit of luck, don't you, if you're going to win a major championship. Patty Tabatanekit's birdie putt on the way.
That is such a fast putt across the green towards the water.
It's a great look at exactly what the players are going to be facing from that position. Just kind of feeds back down towards the hole, and it's such a popular place to leave your approach shot.
It's the easiest fairway on the golf course to hit at 11. We'll go to 14 now.
And Austin Ernst has got the best round going today, 5 under through her first 13. And she'll face another one of those tricky up the hill shots coming back.
That's tough for short-sighted, and the green's maybe firming out a little bit as well.
Well, wherever your golf journey is headed, the PGA coach will help you get there. Find yours at pga.com/coach. It is toasty in Atlanta today. Humidity's up, temperatures up. By far the warmest day of the championship, back at 11.
And Molinaro for par.
A couple of Pac-12 golfers in this group. Molinaro played at ASU. And Tabatanekit, 2 years at UCLA.
You got to get the UCLA in, Kay.
I had to once.
It's fair.
It didn't sound like a force, Kat.
Yeah, she was a bright spot on the team for sure. Her talent has been enormous for many years.
This will be a good 2-putt.
Yeah, this would be a good 2-putt. Anytime you can make a 4 on this hole and walk away, you feel good. Especially with a scoring hole coming up in the reachable par 5-12. Patty said that, she's still adjusting to kind of how to moderate her schedule and deal with the after effects of being a major champion. There's a lot of new things that are involved, and she's trying to still learn to deal with all of that.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a shock to her, to how much attention she gained after that win.
Oh, and that's maybe a little mental mistake there.
There's 2 bogeys to start the back 9, going in the wrong direction. She won 7 times during her time at UCLA over those 2 years, and was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year in 2018. She was the National Freshman Player of the Year in women's golf in 2018.
Flag's going right to left.
About
84.
This is what they face. As Paige was mentioning, it just goes downhill right there, 24 feet down, and the flag just bringing that water right into play.
Yeah, if you do challenge that water line, just left the whole location, basically where that yellow line is, you get a good look there. If you just play right along the edge of that water line, it will feed towards the hole. I don't anticipate that's going to be Lizette's line, however.
Right now, the wind switches. I like it at that tree. You could even go. It should scoot a little bit left to right once it hits the green, somewhere around that tree. Okay.
So if I can land this between the bunker and the tree, we're good.
Yeah.
Low.
Low.
Okay.
There's not much wind. All right.
The wind. What? Right to left?
Right now, it's right to left with the lure. Okay. Just trust it. Same swing as the last one.
Landing it right in that sort of line.
And it's worth pointing out that in spite of the distance between the drives and the club in hand difference, Lizette Salas actually on average hits more greens in regulation than Nelly. It's a very, very small margin, but very accurate with these hybrids.
Going with the 4 hybrid or her strongest hybrid, and for any other player in the field from this distance, they would probably take anything, anywhere on the putting green. But her expectations are a little higher this week. This is exactly where she aimed it. Center of the green, should work right. Oh, doesn't carry.
Soft bounce as well. A good approach on the toughest hole on the golf course.
Now they're getting ready to play. 154 yards out, and you can take a look at some insights by KPMG, in 3rd in the field in proximity to the hole in this sort of distance.
That was a 9-iron off a downhill lie. Easy to hit it right, and she didn't. She stayed disciplined out to the left, a little farther than she wanted.
And it's going to leave a quick putt and a tough 2-putt from what we've seen today. There are a number of tricky holes on this back 9 here at the Atlanta Athletic Club. The 11th here in the final round of the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, where we have a battle between the highest ranked American in the world, Nelly Corda, and Lizette Salas. Just one shot between the two, and Nelly has a pretty tricky putt here, Jerry Foltz.
Speed-wise, very tricky. Flat for about 5 feet and then straight down cliff to the hole. We go right early, and this part should be very straight. And it was.
Get all the way down there. This is just how quick it is. That's
such
a good touch.
Incredible judgment.
Should be a 4 for Nelly.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of putts there today, and it's been a difficult one to judge the speed accurately.
And Nelly does not waste any time. Grab the flag, take it out, tap it in. Talk about these holes where you can come unstuck on the back 9. If you look at the stats today, 33 double bogeys or worse on the back 9, 8 on the front 9. Let's go to 14.
And this tricky shot for Ernst from behind the green, bumps it up.
Oh, that is so good.
Can't get much better than that.
The lie itself wasn't that challenging. It's coming back into the grain of this zoysia grass, being able to judge exactly how it was going to land and hop and skip. Really strong performance from Austin Ernst.
Yeah, we talked about the resurgence of American golf for the women, and Austin Ernst is beginning to gain more and more confidence each week, and she's going to be a factor, you would think, in years to come in big championships as well. Back to 11.
And looking across the green, you get a sense there of the undulations in that surface and the downhill putt that Lizette Salas now faces.
Yeah, it's the trickiest green on the course, in my opinion. It's actually uphill for about 4 or 5 feet. Then it goes downhill, not quite as severe a slope as Nelly Corda had, but it'll be moving right the entire remaining 3/4 of the putt.
She's made so many putts this week, Jerry, you wouldn't write it off just to tie the lead.
No, never.
She's been too delicate with it. Just outside that comfortable length.
She's done a nice job of cleaning up any of these putts that she's had thus far. But it's at this point in the tournament where if there's any nerves at all, it'll maybe speed up that heart rate a little bit. The challenge is keeping the tension out of your hands. Oftentimes, things start to get a little tense around you. It can cause tension in your hands and your body. And wherever there's tension, that's where initiation of motion will be. So if you've got it in your hands or forearms, that's usually what moves first. So you can keep that loose and relaxed. You'll keep everything in sync.
Looked up to Nancy Lopez when she was growing up, and Lorena Ochoa. And when she was young, she got Lorena Ochoa's autograph, and her father framed it and put it on the wall of their house. They still have that picture of Lorena Ochoa, and of course Nancy Lopez has been a big influence in Lizette's career.
And I can promise you, Nancy and Ed, her husband, are watching right now. Usually text me during the final round of measures.
Might be too nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way she's been putting those putts. Just not ramming them in, just using the contours and getting the speed just right. It's been really impressive to watch. So still one shot between them. And let's go down to Steve Sands.
Tom, thank you very much. With Jessica Korda. And Jessica, normally we don't spend time talking to an athlete about another athlete, but with your sister trying to win a major for the first time, we had earlier on Peacock a wonderful exchange between you and your sisters. You made the turn. She was about to tee off. You guys gave each other a nice little hug. What's it like trying to root on your sister?
It's normal at this point. You know, this is a great experience, and I just told her to enjoy it out there. it was nice to be able to see her. We honestly didn't think that we would be able to see each other, so we kind of said good night last night and then shot each other good luck text this morning, and that was about it. So it was nice to get a surprise to be able to see her.
Someone was asking me on the way over here, how do they balance the close relationship of being sisters with also the competitiveness of trying to win while the other person is in the field at the same time? So how do you guys try that out?
Well, I mean, it's not tennis, right? We're not playing head-to-head. It's not match play. There's a bunch of other girls that we're playing up against. It just happens that we're sisters and, we're in the same field. So I just see it as any other way. I'm not actually playing against the players. Currently, I'm playing against the golf course, or in my case this week, just me against myself. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we do it. There's so many other players out in the field, and it's not head-to-head. It's not match play. So I think that's the best way to look at it.
What do you think it'll be like for you the next couple of hours trying to get her to the finish line? What's going to be going on inside you as you watch your sister?
Trust. I wouldn't say she's been in this exact position before, but she's won a tournament last week. She won a tournament earlier on this year. She knows what it takes to win, and you never know what anyone else is going to do out there. Lizette's playing some fantastic golf. I'm super impressed with how she's been playing this week and putting the ball. So coming down the stretch, there's going to be some really tough pins. So we'll see kind of how everyone fares with that.
Kind with your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're right. It's not tennis. The other part of the family has that covered, though. Dad, Peter Corda, won the '98 Australian Open, and Sebastian Korda, their younger brother, is over at Wimbledon. He's got a big match as Wimbledon gets started tomorrow. So they've got the sports world about covered. Solace off the tee at the par 5 12th.
Looks like it took off down the right center. Oh yeah, just clear of the bunkers. This hole's been a wind tunnel all week, Paige, and right now it's blowing harder than it has all day. Straight into the players, a little from the right.
Interesting how it meanders through this golf course. I'm sure it's a welcome breeze, Jerry, though.
Yeah, it's a little steamy. Millie was talking to me walking down the last fairway about her elevated heart rate yesterday when we had those stats on the air, and she said, it just gets that way when I get my body temperature raises. This one up the left center, it appeared. Yeah, so wow, really good.
Yeah, she loved that one. You got a good look. That carry, 257. A nice little downslope. The extra ground roll.
So the family is split. You've got Nellie's mother who's here. Dad is over at Wimbledon cheering on Sebi. And there's an early family portrait of the three siblings. Talk about an athletic family. They could end up being at the Olympics together. They're that good.
Well, Dan, once again, it's Molinaro who has an eagle chance, not long hitting Patty Tavatanakit.
Gorgeous roll.
If she was up near where yesterday's hole location was, that was an exquisite putt.
That was nearly her second eagle of the day. She eagled the fifth earlier. Brooke Henderson, the champion from 2016 at Sahali, finishing up. Happy to have her sister on the back. We talked about it all week. Got her working visa approved, and Brittany, her sister, didn't really show up in the bag until just a short time before this championship started. They were wondering if she was going to be able to get approved, and she did. And there's nothing like that player-caddy combo on tour, for sure. Over at the 12th, Tavatanakit for birdie.
Yeah, she hit a poor drive, laid up approach to that point, and again, no birdies on the par 5s for Tavatanakit today.
Not only is that surprising, but that I think is killing her opportunity to really make a run at this early in the day.
Yep, she is running out of holes as Lizette Solace is waiting back out on the fairway at the 12th. She has had her major opportunity. It was big time at the 2019 AIG Women's Open at Woburn. She made a 20-foot putt at the 15th to take a one-shot lead, then had this at the 18th, just edging out, still shot 65. Was playing with Jin Young Ko, so it was an incredible day for Solace, but that one lost shot ended up costing her because Anako Shibuno had an 18-footer at the last to put it away. That was traveling. Would have been well by the cup.
But the smiling Cinderella got the job done and just clipped Solace by a single shot 2 years ago. And Solace lays it up safely at the par 5 12th.
Yeah, that was just out of comfortable reach for Lizette. 215 hole, 192 front, but into the breeze. Didn't like it.
With that experience page for Lizette, she's talked about it and said that it's helped her in many ways.
Yeah, and that one in particular, I think, was a pretty emotionally devastating loss. I think she was really pleased with how she performed, and to be that close, it can be very hard to let it go. But she's putting herself in another good position here.
It's also down, a little downhill lie, so the ball's not going to get up in the air.
Beautiful view from high above the 12th and our aerial coverage provided by Waystar.
You're with me, come on. Just coming down in that left bunker. Behind it, you've got another 10, so 83 back edge.
A little between clubs here. Not the best number. Have to go with an easy 6-iron just for safety's sake off a downhill lie. I think she wanted to try and maybe lean on a 7 and get it close. Right at it.
Oh,
what a shot.
How aggressive is that, Paige?
It's excellent, and I love the conversation between her and caddy Jason McDee. They have a great partnership as well. Do a good job of communicating, and he has good belief in her, and they've worked together for several years now.
His confidence right there. So an eagle putt upcoming for Nelly Corda. As we take a look back at the last championship, you see Se Young Kim in the list of recent past champions. All those great venues. They had to postpone this KPMG Women's PGA Championship from its regular time slot in June to October of last year, but no problem for Se Young Kim at Aronimink. Ran away from the field. Birdie at 17. Ended up shooting a final round 63. A little tap in for par at the 18th. Her first career major win, 11th career LPGA victory.
And at this point, she was the most talented player not to have won a major championship. A very similar situation to what Nelly Korda is in now. She's indisputably the best player without a major. So can she break through in the same way?
Yeah, Corda equaled that 63 by Se Young Kim earlier in this championship. And continues to lead by 1 at the 12th and has the advantage there with that laser second shot, which will give her a good eagle look.
That's always kind of weird in here.
Insights by KPMG.
Yeah, I was looking at her number.
Pretty good from this distance.
Yeah.
That's a great number.
Yeah.
Yep. Stop.
Hit it.
Yeah. It's perfect. Little pass is good, so hit it fault. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wind is helping right now, but.
Still hit it.
Yep.
105 hole, 95 to cover the water, land on the green in line with the flag. Nelly and her caddy Jason just walked by and gave me that look that painted a picture of that was a lot closer than we had intended. Pulled this one, probably the worst sweat shot of the week.
Yeah, it's just been, we've seen some really great wet shots early in the week, but we've had a couple loose ones. Chunk earlier in the day, and then that.
Could see a significant swing in favor of Nelly Korda at the 12th. Looking for eagle. Solace in the back bunker in 3. Was that Solace at the par 5 12th with her 4th.
Green sloping away, but a little bit of an uphill lie. Perfect out of the sand. Sweet.
That one gets away. And Solace is in danger of making just her 2nd bogey of the championship. Every time it looks like she's going to slip down the board, she makes one. But this is going to be a big test.
Speaking of big tests, this is tricky with the green running away from her. Austin Ernst. Steady, steady.
Whoa.
And we talked about the double bogeys or worse on the back 9, and the number much higher than the front 9. There's more danger lurking. And that is going to be a nightmare for Australians. I think she's going to have to drop it back in the bunker. We'll go back over to the par 5 12th.
And Solace has still not lost her turn.
They're not even close.
Look at that scrambling number this week. That is how good she has been with that putter. Can it save her one more time?
Yeah, she's 11 for 12 so far this week.
She's always good around the greens, but this week has been clinical.
She might have been able to learn something if she was paying attention to her ball as it passed the hole, got a little bit of a read.
And I'm having a hard time seeing exactly what this says. It looks to me like it wants to go a little right halfway there, but going past the hole with the bunker shot, it kept working the other way. But there's a little strange kind of lip to the green right before it heads down into the water.
Going to be a bogey 6 at this par 5 where we could see a 3-shot swing.
Yeah, just a really big mistake with wedge in hand to miss this green. She had been so sharp early in the week, and sometimes just a little extra adrenaline, a little extra juicing through your veins can throw you off. But Nelly Corda, on the other hand, did everything right so far on this hole.
This for her second eagle of the day and to open things up big time on Solace.
Quick and just sliding a little right.
That is a 4-shot lead just like that. Second eagle, the other one coming at the 5th. And Corda now in cruise control as we head down the stretch here, just like that. We talked about the earlier eagle at the 5th. It certainly is worth another look how she produced it. A 7-wood page from 243 yards. This was almost one better than an eagle.
You got to look, as soon as you looked at her eyes, she knew exactly how good that was. And be able to hit a lofted shot and control the distance that way, that was exceptional. We knew the par 5s were going to be a big part of this conversation. Didn't know exactly how she was going to get it done. But on this hole, a lot of it had to do with the drive. She set up a great approach shot. Not fully confident in it, but ultimately worked out very nicely.
So 2 eagles have landed for Nelly Corda, and she's moving closer to her first major championship. Again, lots of water and trouble to negotiate. And again, if she wins this championship, she'll ascend to #1 in the world for the first time. And clearly put herself in the spotlight of world golf and the women's side of things. And
no, I mean, if you hit this 220,
still going through the motions here at the 13th.
14 yards total. If you hit it 220. Are you with me? All right. Now straight away at that left hole.
The Chattahoochee River's not too far away from this tee. The laid-back atmosphere of being on the river, as opposed to the cauldron being inside the ropes here. Nelly ready to play.
Clubbing back. Tough fairway for her to find with driver here because of the way it meanders right.
Yeah, it should be the shortest par 4 on the golf course, but of course the tee moved up at the 6, making that short and drivable. Take a look at the Rolex World Rankings as they stand currently. After her victory at last week's Maya LPGA Classic, Nelly Corda up to 3rd. And as we've been saying, she could become the 3rd American to reach the top spot and become the world #1. Victory here, and there is a scenario that even with a 2nd place finish, she could potentially become the world #1. But she's thinking about the win and getting to the top of those rankings.
Come on now. Focus. Land right there in the middle of that top part of that bunker.
Now Lizette has to go with the driver, and there's a a big example of the difference in the length that they hit the ball, Jerry.
Yeah, and walking over to the tee, it's a short walk. Lizette actually chucked her ball into the Chattahoochee Tom, which is the equivalent out of Lizette of snapping every club in the bag.
Yeah, she's pretty calm out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has got to be really annoyed with that wedge shot and dropping a shot on a par 5.
Good one.
Safely away there. We'll go up to Dan Hicks in the booth.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Well, I have a moment visiting here with Paul Knopp, U.S. Chair and CEO of KPMG. The 7th consecutive event it'll be next year when this championship goes to Congressional that a men's major was hosted there. So the great venues continue on. But a huge part of the KPMG week is the Women's Leadership Summit. Tell us a little bit about the latest version of that, Paul.
Well, Dan, first, we're so incredibly proud to be the title sponsor for the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. It's part of elevating women on the course in the game of golf. We're also committed to elevating women off the course in the world of business. And what we do is, in conjunction with the PGA Women's Championship, we host a KPMG Women's Leadership Summit. And in that summit, we have 100 leading companies nominate 300 women to participate in the event. And those women hear from great and outstanding speakers. Your own Michelle Tafoya was once again this year the host for our event. And we had speakers such as Patty Jenkins, who is an award-winning director and writer. We had Dr. Condoleezza Rice this year again. It was just a phenomenal event, and we're so proud of it having an impact in the world of business. Almost 50% of the women that have participated in the summit have been promoted, and almost 20% to the C-suite. So we're really proud of our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's one of the ways that we demonstrate that commitment.
I think I speak for a lot of people in the game that it has been lacking in the women's game for a long time now is statistical information, data. And I know there was a big announcement this week that's going to get the ball rolling for stats for future women's events in golf.
Yeah, KPMG Performance Insights is what you're alluding to, Dan. You know, we help companies elevate their performance using advanced data and analytics. And we saw a disparity in the men's game and the women's game. The men have had this kind of information for 20 years now, and we are providing that kind of information. You've shown the proximity averages during the week this week at the tournament, and they are now going to have these tools in their hands because KPMG is helping produce that kind of information that they can analyze their game, diagnose their game, improve their performance, much like the companies that we help. And we think it's going to be great. It's going to be used in this event, but it'll be used in all future LPGA events too.
Well, it's been a great collaboration between the LPGA, the PGA of America, and KPMG. Paul, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, and thanks to NBC and the Golf Channel for all you did.
Thanks for enhancing this championship through the years. Out at the 13th we go.
This is Molinaro for birdie.
This is a really slick putt. Downhill, low right to left. She's been hitting fairway after fairway, green after green on this back nine, very steady.
And it could be her career best finish on the LPGA Tour. Julia Molinaro. That was a little earlier, now live in the fairway with Nelly Corda.
Yeah, playing first for the first time today. Little pitching wedge from 129. Breeze from the left and some help in it. Great line if it's the club.
It is, yes. Going to be a quick putt above the hole. But Nelly is very much in control of her game now on this back nine. And there's the golf swing. It's a swing that you would love to be able to replicate if you were learning the game. Lizette Salas, who finds herself 4 shots behind and with an uphill battle to try and get back into this championship, Jerry.
Yes, 2 yards closer. This a 9-iron. Coming into today, Tom, from our new stats people, there have been 20 players averaging inside 25 feet in proximity from the fairway. For reference, there is not a single player on the PGA Tour averaging inside 25 feet from the fairway.
One of the insights that we're going to gain with the work that KPMG is doing with the LPGA Tour. And we'll only gain more and more knowledge of that over the coming weeks and months. Now, you saw Austin Ernst in the bunker, knocking it into the penalty area. She had the option to go back to the drop zone. So that was what she chose to do. And it just shows you what can happen on these par threes coming home, 15 and 17. Back on the 13th green, Nelly Korda looking on as Lizette Salas gets ready to attempt the birdie putt here.
Downgrain, downhill, a little bit of turn left, starts turning about halfway there. It's just a matter of marrying that line and speed. She's missed a few high today, she's missed a few low, and it's almost always been due to the speed.
She's 4 behind, but Lizette Salas is a fighter. It's going to be a 4. But it was interesting that she referenced the 2019 Solheim Cup when she took on Anne Van Dam, one of the longest players on the LPGA Tour, in the singles. And she said, well, you know, I just said to her, I'll see you on the green on every hole. And Lizette Salas ended up winning that match 1-up, going up against Nelly Korda, who obviously hits the ball a lot farther than Lizette does. This one for birdie now for Nelly.
This one too, moving a little left late.
Giving it a good run, but it's going to turn too much. So 4 for both players on 13.
I think to your point, Tom, it's good to know your own game, your strengths and your weaknesses. You play to your strengths, and you, I guess, avoid the weaknesses or at least try to address them. And for both these players, they have different strengths and weaknesses, and trying to not stress or push too much to be a player that you're not.
This is the cutoff for Tokyo and the Olympics. This is how things stand right now. Lizette Salas, 45th in the world. Our projections say that Lizette could only reach 16th in the rankings if she were to win here. So it looks like Jessica Korda is safe at 13th in the world to take that final spot.
And speaking of the Olympics, Tom, more great action tonight, starting with track and field. You got Noah Lyles, 200-meter world champion in action. They're followed by the final night of gymnastics in St. Louis. You'll see the amazing Simone Biles in action as the U.S. women's gymnastics team will be determined and announced at the end of tonight's competition. Molinaro over at the 14th.
And Dan, she'll be heading to Tokyo in a month. Bat a 9-iron. Trying to draw it in. She played in the 2016 Rio Olympics, so soon to be a 2-time Olympian.
And by the way, we mentioned the fact that all the Kordas, including Sebastian, could be a part of the competition in Tokyo. He's the 50th ranked player in the world. Their cutoff was last Monday, so he is going to be eligible to go. And so it's just going to be a matter of whether you go or not. I would say that he probably would say yes to it. He's just 20 years old. But if you talk to guys like Andy Roddick, they'll tell you that Sebastian Korda is the best young American to come up the ranks in a long, long time. And that comes from Andy Roddick, who's the last American male to be #1 in the world in men's tennis. So this is some athletic family, the Kordas.
Not enough to carry all the bunker on the right, so that's at least the 4th fairway bunker that we've seen Nelly Korda hit today. So not on her game off of the tee. She's managed to survive those.
Well, this is the Corda Slam, when everybody ended up winning the Australian Open at the juniors for Sebastian, and they all did the scissors kick that Dad Peter did at the '98 Australian Open.
Really impressive. When Nelly won it, it was the first opportunity that she had to kind of complete it, and took it off that first time.
Good one for Lizette. She is not done fighting yet.
Need a water, you good?
Nope, she will fight to the finish, no doubt about it. Another fairway for Lizette. He got Corda in that bunker at the par 4 14th. 5 holes to go to see if Nelly Corda is going to be a major champion at Atlanta Athletic Club. Out to the 14th, Molinaro continues the chase, 7 back.
Yeah, yet another birdie chance downhill. Pulls a little to the left. And she looks like she's been in this position many, many times. Absolutely calm and cool.
So comfortable.
Yep.
It's really been a lot of the fundamentals, the hitting fairways, hitting greens, giving herself looks. Really impressive for this 30-year-old.
On the strength of 2 eagles, Nelly Corda out by 4 over Solace. The big pivotal hole was that par 5 12th where Solace bogeyed. And Nelly had the eagle, and aerial coverage provided by Waystar. High above the overcast and high humidity in Atlanta.
You know, I bring up that Nelly winning the Australian Open in her first opportunity. Sebastian had won the junior Australian Open, so she was the 4th of the clan to try to get it done and won it in that first attempt. She's had these moments throughout her career where she's shown up at big times. I even think back to the beginning of this season where sister Jessica won the first event of the season. And Nelly had talked about how desperately she had wanted to follow up Jess's win with her own. And she went out and got it done. So she's got a next gear mentally. Every now and then we've seen in moments throughout her career that she can step up.
Almost straight down. It's normal, okay?
Yeah.
John Colleen going through the motions with Lizette. Colleen was on the back of Patty Sheehan at the 1990 U.S. Women's Open played at Atlanta Athletic Club. It was on the other course, but it looked like it was a for sure major for Patty. She ended up losing a huge lead. They played 36 holes on the final round Sunday of that championship. And here he is with Solace all these years later. You thought it might go his way today, but they've got a battle from behind, Jerry.
Yep. Pretty good solid shot having to hit a 4 hybrid into this green.
By the way, Betsy King won that U.S. Women's Open, and you know, Betsy's been battling a broken femur, has been recovering for the last 3 months, so we wish Betsy King all the best. I'm sure she is watching, or at least we hope so.
Uphill lie for Nelly. No signal from Jason. I'm pretty sure that was a 9-iron cut really cleanly.
Beautiful.
He's got all the shots. Made a birdie earlier at the 3rd hole from the fairway bunker and is lined up for perhaps another one here. Up ahead to 17.
He's got to look at this par 3 and Austin Ernst on the tee. The flag all the way over on the left.
You hit it close to this hole location. It's an accident. Most players playing it a good 15 feet out to the right. Nicely done.
Maybe a quick putt back down the green, but it's dry. The 17th hole could be an interesting one down the stretch here. Lizette Solace getting ready for her birdie putt here at the 14th. Mentioned earlier in this championship that it's the 214th start on the LPGA Tour for Lizette Solace. 44th major start. It is hard to believe with all of her talents that she's been able to only win once. So this day offered such a huge opportunity, still with a chance.
This game can beat you up, and Lizette has been through the ringer a little bit, and if there's one thing, and we're going to mention it again, there's one thing that she has learned her entire life, not just her professional career, is to never give up. And this one is makeable. Lengthy, but straight up the hill.
And she really opened up to the media earlier this week after her first round 67. Just talked for length about how she had struggled during COVID, just didn't like herself. And so this has been a victory of sorts this week and lately for Solace, who just hit rock bottom.
You talked about how so much of her life was identified as a golfer, and that being taken away was a challenge.
All right, this to increase the lead. And after this tight battle most of the week, Nelly Corda is pulling away.
One of the best rounds of golf that we're seeing. Amy Yang posted an 8 under par 64 early in the day, but with Nelly Corda at 6 under par, it's one of the best.
Best score to par ever in a women's major is 21 under. In-Ji Chung at the Evian 5 years ago, and Nelly Corda with her latest birdie has reached 21 under. This is one of those master class performances in a major championship where you put all of those talents on display and you say to the rest of the golfing world, I'm the best. And she'll be saying it at the end of the day, I'm #1 in the world as well, unless Solace can pull off something magical down the stretch here.
Stand, please. Take your time.
With just 4 holes left. Solid 2-putt for Solace, but she's running out of holes and running out of hope. Nelly Corda is on another roll, not only trying to win her first major, but go back-to-back weeks. She was 25 under last week. She's 21 under here with 4 holes left in the 67 KPMG Women's PGA Championship.
Tee at the 15th, and this group has been waved up, Kay?
They have. Trying to speed up the weight on this tee, and that's a hybrid.
It's leaking right.
It is leaking.
And the splash.
All you need to do is keep it dry here, Tom.
All you need to do. Sounds easy, doesn't it?
Well, some history at this championship, and on this hole, somebody that kept it safe. In fact, perfectly struck by David Toms in the 2001 PGA Championship with that famous 5-wood of his from 245 yards out. And then choosing to lay up on the final hole to hold off Phil Mickelson and the rest of the field. Ended up paying off 12 feet. David Toms off the strength of that hole-in-one a few holes earlier. Pours it in. 15 under round. Or a total of 265 was the lowest ever in a major at the time. Mickelson left a 25-foot birdie attempt inches short on the 72nd hole, so it was David Toms getting to lift that Wanamaker trophy. One of 3 PGA championships staged here. Larry Nelson won the first in '81, and then Keegan Bradley followed up 10 years later with a PGA championship title of his own. We mentioned the Betsy King U.S. Women's Open, and
Jerry Pate hit a 5-iron of historic proportions at the 18th, and they put a plaque for Jerry to mark it from the right rough as well. So a lot of history here, and it's being added to today. Will Nelly Corda be the latest to join that history in the clubhouse at Atlanta Athletic Club. Back over at the 15th.
I think Nelly Corda deserves a plaque on the 5th after that second shot she hit earlier in the round. This is Dati Ardina. Another player who has limited experience in major championships, and certainly in the hunt for a major. She's never finished better than 62nd in a major.
Big week for several of these players on the leaderboard, getting that kind of experience. Not the best day for her so far, but again, learning from that situation, knowing how your body reacts to the pressure, to the tension.
This is Hyo-Joo Kim on the tee at the 17th. She made a good putt for a bogey on the 15th hole. Had a nice run of 3 birdies in a row on the front 9. Currently 8 under par. And getting it to pitch short of the flag there at 17. That's bold.
As good as we've seen today at that whole location.
Winner earlier this year in Singapore, and a player who knows how to go low in a major championship. 61. Evian, let's go to 18.
Austin Ernst looking to move up the leaderboard. And there are opportunities here with this tee moved up just 457 yards, but that is headed way right. So Ernst way right off the par 5 18th, with Nelly Corda up by 5 in the final round from here in Atlanta. Par tap safely in as we shift back to 15. Tom?
And Paddy to have a tourniquet from the bunker.
Boy, you've got to hit this with a lot of spin with that water looming long. And she did, landed it beautifully.
Very good.
That's why she's top 10 in the world in sand saves.
Tough back 9 though for Paddy. 2 bogeys and a double. Having gone out a couple under.
Some days golf seems easy and some days it just seems hard. We saw some great golf from Patty Tavtaniket earlier this week. Seen her post a 65 yesterday, and it just hasn't come together in that way today.
And Paige, I've noticed that she's lost her patience a bit today, and she said that she is a very impatient person, that she can get sideways quickly, and that's something she's working on.
Aren't we all? But certainly a young player still, even as a major champion.
And they are going to wave the final pair up here, I think.
They will, waiting for the greenside bunker to be raked in case somebody were to hit it over there.
What do you think about this, Jerry? Would you rather just let them play on, or would you think this is the best plan of action in the final pairing?
I don't really have an opinion. It's no big deal. It's pretty commonplace when things get backed up and the tour is trying to finish round with weather potentially impending later, and also TV windows. It's pretty normal. But Nellie's going to go with 6-iron when the green does clear, and I hate to...
The wind's picked up just a hair. I think it's pretty much just, just a stock shot.
Just has to keep this on dry land. It was 10 years ago when Jason Duffner stood on this very tee with a seemingly insurmountable lead and lost in a playoff.
Hardest green to hit on the golf course. Less than 50% of the field finding this green off the tee.
And that's right. Trying to draw.
Hit it right yesterday and got away with it. But not today. Well, the plot thickens.
Well, and it's difficult with the weight and coming off and not having that kind of momentum straight into the next shot. It's that having the ability to reset and refocus. It's a
full one.
Big mistake.
And now Lizette.
7 wood for Lizette.
Needs to find the green. If she can make a birdie here, wow, that would make a huge difference.
She is aiming just inside the left edge of the green. That is a really, really good line, just left of the hole.
Run out a little bit, but it's safely on the green.
Yeah, there's a little bit of life. We've got some intimidating holes coming up. There's still some scoring opportunities, so an open door for Lizette.
This is at the 17th. Hyoju Kim for birdie. And she makes a 2. It's a quick putt that. So Hyoju Kim climbing into 4th place on her own. We check out our Top Tracer technology presented by KPMG and all of the tee shots on this 15th, and you might be able to spot Nelly Corda's finding the water. It's not quite over yet. 5-shot lead. Nelly has some shots to play with, but Lizette Salas is going to fight on here and try and sneak out a major title. On the 15th, and the 3rd shot now for Nelly from the drop zone.
Yeah, lasers at 129 going with 9-iron into the wind. Not being conservative here.
Yeah, going right at it. Good shot. And a chance to save a bogey. Look at that swing. What do you think about the playing up here, Paige? Do you think that may have played into her hitting it into the water?
It's hard to say. She hit a similar shot yesterday, and you really don't want to be waiting on the tee, but you also don't want people waiting on you. It can be a little bit off-putting if there's people surrounding the green just waiting for you to hit up.
Player has the option, Paige, to hit up or not, correct?
Correct. The players would have had the option. I think for Nelly, I don't think she would ever point to that as being a distraction. She certainly is capable of hitting that shot at the time and just mis-executed. So I don't think she would have ever blamed it into why she hit it in the water.
Aerial coverage is provided by Waystar on a journey to transform healthcare payments. There's the 15th hole in the middle of your screen, and you can see how much that water just eats into the green.
Well, we saw the misexecution yesterday, and Kate Cockrell reported to us that in her practice round she hit the stone wall as well. So a lot of players just are uncomfortable on certain shots, and perhaps there's something visually that's uncomfortable about that tee shot, certainly with the ball in the air as much as it is on that downhill approach into this green. You can understand why it would be. Got a good recovery shot from the drop zone, minimizing the damage.
Had that roar go up there. We'll find out what that is in a moment, but brings me to the point that Nelly said the energy of the crowd has been a big motivator for her this week, having crowds back, full crowds for the last couple of weeks. Now, Lizette Salas for a birdie. This could be crucial.
Well, yeah, it's huge. It's down through a valley, then up a slope, turning left, and then the hole today is on the other side of that slope, so downhill the last 4 or 5 feet. Nelly heard the roar and looked in that direction, and then looked back at the leaderboard and realized she probably didn't have to worry that much about it.
All she has to worry about is the player right in front of her, Lizette Salas. And let's go to 16.
And this was the noise you heard from Dottie Ardina, 27-year-old from the Philippines, delivering her third.
And not an easy shot from behind the green off a downhill slope, but
I was traveling.
A little bit of a backstop there.
When you just hit the stick in the middle, it goes down.
And that stops the bogey train.
Yep. Philippines has had a lot to cheer about in recent golf. Yuka Saso winning the U.S. Women's Open at Olympic, and now chance to minimize the damage, Tom.
Yeah, this for bogey.
Up the hill, turning right, it would feel huge.
First drop shot since the second round. She bogeyed 10. And it's going to be a double bogey. So the lead will be 3, assuming Lizette Salas makes her par.
Her last drop shot, Tom, was at 1:40 p.m. on Friday afternoon. Remember, she began that round at 63 with a bogey at the 10th. Until there, she hadn't dropped a shot.
Amazing golf. Coming off a fine performance last week at the Maya LPGA Classic, where she collected the victory. It's a double bogey to take her back to 19 under. Should be a 3-shot lead with 3 to play, assuming Lizette makes her putt. Nelly just giving a little bit of self-talk.
Still a lot of work on this, but it's quick, and it should just inch a little left, but it's really quick.
And she's been dying these ones in, Jerry, all week.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's just how the player sees it. It's very difficult to change the pace in which the ball enters the hole if your eyes are just reading putts with a certain speed. But it also allows for a little bit more movement. The less speed the ball's traveling, if it hits a bump, it's more likely to kick it off speed or offline. If it doesn't have a lot of speed to it.
I mean, Nelly's playing some of the best golf of her career, and she's just gifted you 2 shots here. If you're Lizette, you've got to make this.
Absolutely.
Has to be 3 behind with 3 to play.
Well done.
Very well done.
Good 2-putt. Good 2-putt all around there.
And still a chance. But Lizette is going to have to find some birdies. Hasn't made birdies since the 6th. And Nelly a little more serious as she walks to the tee at the 16th.
Well, and to your point, as flawless as Nelly has been, it's very discouraging for a player trying to chase. And with this hiccup, there's a little bit of confidence in knowing that she's not perfect, she's still human.
Remember, Austin Ernst hit it way right, so just trying to get a birdie here at the last. And still a good showing for Austin Ernst. top 10 position at the moment. Tap in for par. And a 2 under round of 70 for Ernst.
Really solid week. We talked about the ball striking. Nelly Corda, Austin Ernst, also one of the top ball strikers this week.
And we mentioned it earlier as well. It's another trip to a great venue for this championship. Congressional, just outside the nation's capital for next year's KPMG Women's PGA Championship. You see the dates. You can get your tickets today by visiting KPMGWomen'sPGA.com. Over at the 16 for Molinaro's second K.
Even though she's fallen to 11 under par after that double bogey at the last, still 3 clear of having solo third. And that was a gap wedge uphill to this elevated green. A little deep. That'll be a fast birdie putt for her.
And a closer look at this par 4 16th page.
Yeah, you can see how many bunkers there are for these players to pay attention to. Got to look at those through numbers. 271 on the left. That is something that Nelly Corda will pay attention to. Will not be able to carry it. And then you can see the 31 feet elevation change up to this green. And the players from the fairway will not be able to see the green surface. So it will be about trusting the number. And most likely you're going to see the players looking at just the center, just right of the hole location.
Solace finding another fairway. Cutting into the deficit. It was 5. It is 3 now with 3 to play.
Jason McDeed had a huge talk with Nelly standing greenside. She was just ruining what she had just done, and all he was trying to do was get her to think forward. She can fly the bunkers on the right. Doesn't want to. That started right. A little bit.
That's our top tracer technology brought to you by KPMG, and that is a bomb.
264, that's the longest carry we've seen from Nelly Corda so far this week. I think she might be a little hot under the collar.
Corda makes the mistake at 15, bounces right back. Lead is 3. Major championship coming down the stretch. Was 5 for Nelly Corda on the strength of 2 eagles today, but a mistake at 15 in Solace's par closed the gap 2 shots to now 3. Molinaro up ahead on the green at 16 for birdie.
Touchy little putt downhill with some left to right break.
Molinaro solidified right now in that 3rd position. Ju Kim coming home with her 3rd at 9 under, so she can maybe jump up there.
Yeah, there's room between the hole location and the front of the green, and not bad. She'll have a pretty good look to see if she can close the gap between her and the 3rd position.
Back at 16, Molinaro for par to remain at 11 under. Oh,
she's been so good on these putts all day. It's like trying to hold it together has become really difficult for her.
Molinaro trying to hang on to that high position. Download the LPGA app for iPhone, iPad, and Android today. Visit lpga.com/apps for more information. Look at that good-looking bird hanging out at AAC. Ask Tom Abbott exactly what kind of foul that is. You might know. Molinaro with an unfortunate bogey at the 16th to fall back to 10 under.
Kind of left, so if we go a little bit right, the guy laying down the blue at the 10 cover. the stock one, okay?
You want to start left center of the first bunker.
Okay.
And let it turn over.
All right.
Maybe even center of it.
Okay. Trust it. Swing.
Stock one, right?
Yep.
147 to get to the green up the hill in line with the flagstick. 152 hole is their 6 iron. It's almost like a muscle back 6 iron. It's got a lot of flange, a big head. And yesterday, on a couple of occasions, it went farther than they had planned. It's down breeze, but significantly uphill.
That kind of head shape, you might get a little bit more trajectory than you would in a normal iron. She'll need that on this uphill approach.
That's just as she planned it. It's hoping for a little more applause than that.
I think they were nervous it might have fallen off the back edge, but she'll be able to get putter on that.
Corda after a monster drive.
Just a gap wedge, slide uphill lie, 109 to the hole. Left of it.
So Corda back in gear here. You know, what happened at 15 is a little reminiscent of what happened to Keegan Bradley at the 2011 PGA Championship. He tripled to 15. He birdied 2 of the last 3. Jason Dufner bogeyed 2 of the last 3. Keegan ended up winning a 3-hole playoff. The 67th edition of this championship continues. The second oldest women's major. The U.S. Women's Open is the oldest of the 5 majors. As Nelly Corda chases her very first one here. Lizette Solace from long range trying to stay in it here at the 16th.
Improbable. Stranger things have happened. This one, little downhill early, turning a little left, and then it crests a tiny ridge and goes straight downhill the hole and might actually work back to the right. Speed is critical as a few raindrops begin to fall.
Good pace.
Solace is shooting not only for this first major, but for her 5th straight Solheim Cup team. And as you know, Paige, it's one of the pinnacles in this sport to play for your country. Another edition that's coming later on this summer.
Absolutely. It's a capstone for a lot of these players to be able to participate on that team. Something that Nelly Corda has also been a part of. A little bit of work left to do for both these players. It's interesting. Yesterday she talked about how difficult it was to control her adrenaline. She's going to have a little bit more of that.
This is Yu Kim for birdie to get to double digits. And a round of 68. And she is now in a tie for 3rd with Molinaro. So the major champion from Evian years ago, 5 years ago, with a good finish. And back over to 16 for Solace's par attempt. And that's one of the reasons, talking about the Solheim Cup here, that Solace was inspired to get her game kind of back in shape, because she loves that environment. Who doesn't? But she has thrived in it.
Well, I've watched her play a lot of golf this week, and I don't remember seeing her miss a putt inside 5 feet. You'd want that as a partner on the Solheim Cup.
Absolutely.
Captain Pat Hurst was here earlier this week, keeping tabs on all the possibilities. Nice 2-putt par for Solace, but running out of holes. Needs some help down the stretch, but again, you got 17 coming up. Water hole, par 5 18th. Where maybe Solace is going to be forced to go for it in a couple holes from now. We'll see.
Clean up there.
Couple pars exchanged. And after the double at 15, which brought Solace to within 3, 2 holes left.
Thank you.
Keep it up, girl.
I'm just going to walk over the brow of the hill down to the 17th tee where the rain is falling, and Julia Molinaro on the tee.
I guess the padding for Molinaro for third is gone. That's a 9-iron. Feels comfortable with this club after seeing Patty Tavatanikit hit the same club successfully onto the green.
Yeah, safely on. We're tied for third right now. Still looking very likely to be Julia's career best finish, and we'll go to the 18th.
Then that's a good look at the water that you cross over either on your second or third to this par 5. And Henseleit capping off a good week. A little bit of noise going on there. Party tent has awakened over there behind the 18th.
This is an all downhill towards the hole location today.
Esther Henseleit, just 22 years old. Missed the cut last October in this championship. But she was Rookie of the Year on the Order of Merit on the Ladies European Tour back in 2019. So shows a lot of promise. We mentioned that this is the cutoff for golfers hoping to make their way to the Olympics. And there's Henseleit out of the top 2 there by Sophia Popov.
Yeah, in the qualification you get 2 per country unless you have players inside the top 15, which means a maximum of 4 players.
Back at 17.
And Julia Molinaro for birdie.
Tom, Julia's had a very interesting life growing up. She was born in Italy, but at the age of 2 months, her dad decided to start a business in Kenya, a safari and destination business. So uprooted the family, and she basically grew up in Kenya, playing with the elephants and giraffe. There was a golf course a quarter-mile from the nearest national park that she gravitated to, and lo and behold, here she is playing professional golf.
She would head back to Italy in the summertime, and that's when she really fell in love with the game, and her skill became apparent. And nowadays she goes back down to Kenya during the break in the off season and says it's a great place to disconnect from the world.
Put the cell phone aside and get back in touch with nature.
Yeah.
She actually loves to do. I see her post a lot of Instagram photos hiking in Utah and up in Aspen.
Madeline Sackstrom with an eagle try at 18. And a great try it was. For the 30-year-old.
Look at the 17th. Patty for birdie. Not that fast.
Just gave it a lot of respect. To see a lot of quick putts from up and around that whole location.
Back over to the 18th.
And Henseleit coming back.
Great experience for her this week. Had a couple good days.
She put away the German women's amateur by a pretty good cushion a few years back in 2018. She won by 18 shots. And she got to as high as number 10 in the World Amateur Women's Golf rankings before turning pro.
Yeah, she's going to be disappointed with her round today, but anytime you get experience in this type of environment, you can learn from it. Finishing on a high note.
Backed up a little bit on this final round Sunday, but a good championship all in all for Henseleit.
Molinaro missing out on the par there, and she's going to fall out of a tie for third.
A couple sloppy putts on the last couple of holes.
Yeah, disappointing way to finish right now. Maybe a birdie on this hole down.
And back to Sackstrom here for birdie.
Sometimes It can cycle in your group in positive momentum, and unfortunately for Madeline, her and Esther kind of were feeding off each other in a negative way. She'll be a little disappointed with that.
Patty Tapatanica for her par. Okay. And there's that back nine. It's just kind of fallen apart for Patty. Still, she has her major title. And the two players back on the tee searching for their first.
Right flag with the 4, the purple one.
The 88 yesterday carried 40.
It did?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. And it's hot out, the ball's flying, wind's left to right open. So we're looking at the dark purple flag, right? Basically. Yeah. All right. Hit it. Normal.
It's a pretty small target over there. When you think about 3 shots, Lizette, Jerry, has got to be aggressive here.
She does. The line she's picked out is about 30 feet right of the hole. It's just such a small target. Now playing downwind, it's a shallow shelf where that hole's placed today. 143 to get to the green in line with it, 148 hole. And there really is no safe shot. You're still taking a risk even playing it to the center of the green.
Going to rely on her putting.
Sometimes you can't get yourself to aim away from it much.
Wow. It was an aggressive line. And she's got a chance to put a little pressure on Nelly Corda. Corda finding the water with her tee shot at 15.
Pitching wedge, number 17, and trust it. You with me? This has to be, this has to be right of that cutout, so.
Yesterday they were between clubs. She took the conservative one, the 9-iron. Jason said, we did it because it's Saturday. It's Sunday now. She's taking the wedge. Still a conservative line, but taking the pitching wedge.
It's going to be a big pitching wedge, but she mentions with adrenaline, she gets longer, and that was a struggle yesterday. Yeah, and that's perfect. Perfect judgment. It's so important to know how your body responds in the moment. And yesterday, after the 15th, her adrenaline got up. She said she never could get it down to baseline. Started hitting her irons longer. She chose the smaller of the two. Smart play.
A bit of a smile there from Nelly. Finding dry land with the tee shot at 17. 2 holes away from becoming a major champion. A 3-shot lead.
Been a good week for 27-year-old Celine Boutier. Played in the final threesome yesterday in the 3rd round. Not the kind of day she was hoping for today, coming into this last +3 for the round. But an impressive player who played her college golf at Duke and has picked up 1 win on the LPGA Tour as we send you back to 17.
Lizette Solace and Nelly Korda in this final pairing and found the green, and I think Lizette is going to be first to go, Jerry.
She is, absolutely. A little bit, what a golf shot she hit when she was aiming 30 feet right of the hole and just wouldn't allow herself to do it. It's downhill. I got it moving a little right.
Well, the putter has served her very well. Let's see if she can roll this one in. Turned more than she thought.
This is what we've seen as well, is that just that extra few rolls past the hole, it really rolls out after the hole. Got to be very careful with your speed coming from anywhere above the hole, which is pretty much every single putt we've seen today.
Tough to get it short of that hole.
Yeah,
today.
there's almost impossible.
Leaderboard on the other side of the water.
This one will just be dying at the hole. She knows now 2 pars is going to be good enough.
maybe a birdie. Just look at it go. And a 3-shot lead heading to the 72nd hole. And maybe she can enjoy playing that 18th as we go to the green at 18 now.
Thank you, Tom. Didn't you say earlier in the week that Dottie Ardina was named after Dottie Pepper?
I believe that is the story.
Just wanted to make sure that that was indeed correct. I love Dottie Pepper, and Dottie Ardina has had a good week in her own right here. Her dad is her mentor and has been her coach, and his message to his Dottie has been, don't be scared, have fun. She did come off of that 68 from yesterday with a 75, but a good week for her. Back at 17, and Lizette for the par.
Another one of those putts goes in with perfect pace.
She's gone to that well quite a few times, and it's a really deep well, evidently. Just doesn't miss.
It's formerly one of the top putters on the LPGA Tour several years ago, but over the last several years, just a little decline. And the introduction of that new putter has given her some new life the last couple of weeks.
Should just be a formality for Nelly.
Well done.
One hole to go. And the Corda sporting legacy will likely grow with a second major title, adding to her father's Australian Open tennis crown. It's quite a long walk back to the 18th.
It is some family, Tom. She's set to be the #1 ranked golfer in the world. Her father, Peter, who won that '98 Australian Open,
You tell me.
reached as high as #2 in the world. It's just incredible.
One more eagle. And even just for Nelly, she turned pro 17 years old, couldn't get LPGA Tour status because of her age, played Symmetric Tour, and has dedicated her life to this sport and had the expectation of the family name. She had an older sister, Jessica, who of course plays out here 6 years her senior and is playing under her shadow for several years before she really made a name for herself and has lived up to any of the hype or the expectation, and it has not bothered her, and put it that way.
She made the cut at the 2013 U.S. Women's Open at the age of 14. Her sister Jessica also made that cut, and they became the first set of sisters to make the cut in the same Open since Annika and Charlotta Sorenstam in 2002. And so we have been waiting for this moment for a while, at least for one of the sisters to have a major breakthrough, and this would be her 6th LPGA Tour victory, and that would tie Jessica.
And truly the best player in the world without a major championship. She's been top 5 in the world for nearly 2 years, going back to fall of 2019, that she's been sitting inside the top 5 in the world. She's performed very consistently throughout her career on the LPGA Tour.
You saw our aerial coverage provided by Waystar. Thanks to them, on a journey to transform healthcare payments. So here we are at the par 5 18th. Again, tees up, 3-shot lead.
So right down the cart, this, yeah, it's 240 to the bunker. So I don't think so. If it does, we're still laying out, right? So wind should be down from the right. Just trust this line.
That middle tree?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
All right. The tallest tree up there in the distance? Same tree? Way up there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I don't think, even with her absolute best, she would be able to get there in 2. I don't think, given the current situation, she would try, even if she could, unless Nelly were to make a mistake.
You got to figure out a way to make up 3 shots, right? Kind of what Nelly did to Lizette earlier on the par 5 when Nelly eagled it and Solace bogeyed the 12th.
Sonova!
it.
Going right up that kind of right edge of the grass stripe.
Might have been looking to get a little extra out of
From
it.
here, I mean, we're
give
still
her
only
an
going to have about
opportunity.
230 to the front. Full shot. Come on.
Hybrid for Nelly. No surprise here. Good.
All you need with a 3-shot lead at this par 5. It'll be a layup coming back for Nelly as well. 3-shot cushion. About to become the #1 player in the world and a major champion, all on one Sunday at Atlanta Athletic Club. Nelly Korda allowing herself a little smile there just a few seconds ago, getting some shade, ready for her second shot in just a little bit, and her coronation coming down this final hole. Up at the green, across the water, Patty Tavatanakit is on the edge there. Okay.
Yeah, she actually pull hooked a drive into the water, dropped out, and just ripped a 3-wood up here onto the green. In 3, or actually on the edge, right on the fringe. So she has this putt for birdie across the width of the green. Downhill, little left to right movement. And she may not have had her best stuff today, but she's going to be a superstar for many years.
Women's game's in a great spot, Paige, and Patty Tavatanakit is another reason why it has become so entertaining to watch. Long hitter, so talented. And back in the fairway, or off the fairway in the bunker, is Solace.
Out of this lot, she's not going to be able to get a whole bunch out of this, but it'll still leave her a short iron in.
Shot. Now. No done.
So that's where she's going to hope for a hole out, and somehow Nelly Korda coming back and making bogey. It's the only way it's going to happen. And Korda can't wait to hit this shot. She doesn't waste any time.
Just a gap wedge. Hybrid gap wedge. Probably another gap wedge coming in, and that's it.
Yep. Up ahead, Molinaro finishing off a superb week. This for birdie.
Yeah, she hit a really strong wood into the hole, released into the back bunker. This to tie for 3rd.
Yep, to tie Hugh Ju Kim.
Hey, that's a nice way to finish after a little bit of leaking a little oil the last 3 holes.
Yeah, great event.
Career best finish, so huge for her.
Yeah, how about her in the position she's in, and Guido Migliozzi finishing tied for 4th at the U.S. Men's Open.
They're doing something in Italy to elevate the level of golf.
Yeah, not just career best in a major, but career best in any LPGA event for that 8-year veteran. So excellent.
Where's the ceiling for Tavatanakit, Paige, you think?
She has that unique combination that we've talked about with Nelly Korda of having power as well as touch on the greens. Top 10 in both categories on the LPGA Tour. So that... I think we're just getting to know Patty and what she is capable of. I'm a huge fan of watching her play.
Had that 65 yesterday to put herself in position, and many thought that if anybody was going to make a run at Corda and Solace, it was going to be Tavatanakit with all that power. Just didn't work out. And so now the stage is clear for the final pairing. And this is unusual. Nelly's going to play first here.
On this line, you got to add about 10, so 117. Yes. So it's a little one, right at the 18, just a smoothie. All day at 90%.
Gonna go, I thought you'd go with the gap wedge, just a little pitching wedge. Let's just take it straight at it.
It was a lot of club, as you mentioned, Jerry.
There wasn't going to be any drama over the water for that one. The last thing you need is to put it in the water after doing the same thing or doing it at 15. And again, poised to be number one. Her mom was a top 30 tennis player when she played. And we know that she likes to stay out of the forefront, likes to keep into the background. But if you ask Nellie's brother, Sebi, he will say that Mom has been the real rock of the family all these years, and she is here, and you know she cannot wait to celebrate everything that her daughter Nellie will have achieved here when it's official here in just a couple of moments.
So 115, okay, which is almost full, okay? Yeah. Right at 18?
Right at 18 or at 18?
Right at 18. Go. Get it.
Time to go get it. Go after it. See if you can add a little bit more drama to the proceedings here with a hole out. You just never know.
That's what it would take to have a chance.
Yep.
She has gotten really close a number of times this week, especially on the front nine yesterday with a couple similar wedges.
You said 18.
Sounded like they were looking at the number 18 on the tower, so a little puzzled that wasn't a more aggressive play, but safely on the green. But it's been a pleasure to watch the two of them battle out the last couple of days. We've seen a lot of really strong golf.
And what we're witnessing with this Corda family is just extraordinary. And that's even an understatement when you consider that Dad reached number 2 in the world as a tennis player. Mom's already been to the Olympics as a player. She participated in the 1988 games when tennis was brought back to the Olympics. So not only is Mom an Olympian, but the Korda sisters could be on their way, most likely, to Tokyo to represent the U.S. We talked about her brother being at the Olympics. I mean, I cannot think of another family in multiple sports that have excelled to this level as the Kordas. I mean, you can talk about other families with one sport, talk about the Mannings, and on and on and on, but multiple sports reaching this high level, all 5 members of the family?
It's more than just genes. It is these players, these athletes have dedicated so much time and energy and training to get to this point. It really is exceptional.
And Nellie said coming into this championship, she said there have been times on Sunday when the stress has eaten me up. I've just tried to enjoy it this time. That's what she did last week when she won in Grand Rapids. And she has really leaned on the advice that Bubba Watson talked about at the U.S. Open.
And enjoying the process of going through it and realizing that, you know, playing golf's not life or death. It's just a part of who you are. It's not everything of who you are. And I think if you go back to what you were talking about, how sometimes she'd be in this position and it would eat her up. A lot of times you talk about pressure, and pressure really occurs with the absence of confidence. If you have confidence, it can be an opportunity to shine. And I feel like this week, and maybe off the confidence of last week, she's really embraced this opportunity to really shine. She's entering a place where a lot of people had projected her at the top of the game.
All right, that's her 4th. Whoa, Nellie.
She's got a cushion.
Yep. By the way, Bubba Watson, who had been in contention, he teed off just 20 minutes after Nellie did today. Was leading the Travelers for a while, but he's really had a tough time in the last 4 holes plus 5. He's faded into a tie for 13th. There is Mom Regina and Jessica. Yep, she likes to stay in the background.
And for Lizette, this is a pair of really good weeks. We talked about the strength of Nelly coming off of the win, as well as what she's done this week. Lizette finished 6th place last week, and another strong performance in this major championship. She talked about getting back to her old self, positive, confident Lizette Salas, and that shift in mindset has really paid off.
She was joking with me earlier that she hasn't seen me much lately, which means she's not playing in the last group. And she said, Jerry, I'm changing that.
The kind of determined player that we knew when she first came out on tour. A highly accomplished amateur golfer, 4-time All-American at USC. Sometimes the game and life takes a toll mentally, and she's come out the other side really strong the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you would think with her new mental outlook that obviously this will be very disappointing, but you get the feeling that Lizette Salas is going to handle this just fine and use this as a launching pad. She's 31 years old, a lot of great golf left for her in her 10th year on the LPGA Tour. And you would think that with her short game and the confidence that she gathered this week on this golf course, that she's going to get back into the winner's circle at least another time or two. It is just so hard when you're facing a player with the length and the talent of Nelly Korda. And the Corda family has another major champion, and this time it's in golf. What a performance by 22-year-old Nelly Korda.
Here on the 18th green.
So well.
Nelly, we're going to hold here and do it right now.
No blockade.
That's her boyfriend, who, by the way, is pretty good in hockey his own right. That must feel good on a day like today.
A proper celebration and really an incredible display all week long from Nelly Korda.
And you could see the genuine satisfaction and feeling that Jessica had for Nelly. And so oftentimes you can let that competitive nature kind of get in the way of even a sister relationship, but that is as far away as the reality of it. No one happier than Jessica for Nelly. The little sister has come up big. A major champion. Much more to come from Atlanta. We'll hear from the winner, Nelly Korda, who wraps up her first major by 3 over Solace.